What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to DeshaunJohnson.com YouTube channel for the one and only Deshaun Johnson. And in this video, we're doing another VIPKID tutorial. And this tutorial is to actually show you how to do high quality VIPKID feedback and to create a system where it's going to be easier for you to do that feedback. So one of the things that really just kind of I don't feel like doing after teaching a class is writing feedback. Usually a lot of times I'd love to just teach the class, but then it's like, oh, it's this last part I have to do the feedback. So one of the things that I always like to do is I always like to go into the classroom, see my list of classes, and this technique is actually going to help you out if you're teaching multiple classes throughout that one single day. You can already have some feedback readily available. Now, what you want to do when you're writing this feedback, when you're what I like to call prescripting, you're prescripting the feedback. You're going to assume the best about the student. So the first thing that we do is we'll come over here to our classroom, all right? And then what we'll do is we'll click on, and they changed the layout, the look of the actual classroom right now. We'll go ahead and we'll click on materials, all right? And from materials, okay, you can actually see the slide for that particular student that they're going to be learning about. So what I always like to do is I like to go through the slide, all right? And we'll just start from there. Okay, we'll assume that from each slide, like for example, this one is free talk. Why do people have jobs and why do people like to work? Okay, so based on that student's strengths, that student's skill level, there are several things that I like to actually kind of template my feedback. So the first thing I actually like to do is I like to go ahead and talk about that they did an awesome job today. As you can see here, highlighted here, such and such, in this case Leo, did an awesome job today. You always want to mention the only thing, well, I always like to mention the vocabulary that they learned, okay, because it's really good for the parents to actually know that their students, that their children are building their English vocabulary. That's key importance. And you can actually like look at the list of vocabulary here. Okay, actually, I'm sorry. You can just look at it right here. This is the list of vocabulary right here that they're supposed to be learning. So florist, mechanic, janitor, waiter, librarian, and we'll mention one more, and we'll say driver. Of course, there was more. We don't have to list all of them at this moment in time. Okay, so we'll continue to go through, and at this point in time, we'll talk about what they actually generally, or you're going to envision what they're actually being successful at, what they've completed. You're not going to talk about just how well they did per se, but you're going to talk about that they completed it. When you actually go through the class, you can go back, change some feedback. If the student lived up to what you prescripted already, then you don't have to change anything. You don't have to change anything at all. I'll give you an example. So this is free talk. Why do people have jobs? Why do people like to work? So what I'm going to write about Leo is Leo Leo and I discussed why do people have jobs. And I'm going to say Leo talked or answered this question, excuse me, Leo answered this question to the best of his ability about why people have, or we'll say this, Leo answered this question in a good conversation with me. Okay. Leo talked about, and all we're doing right now is we're assuming, which is why you actually see me just typing at this moment and just really thinking. We're assuming, like I said, we can go back and change this when we actually have the class. The purpose and the advantage of prescripting when you're doing this ahead of time is that you give you set a standard up for the student. So if it's a very successful class, then you've already got their feedback written. You don't have to change anything. But if things didn't go well, then you want to go back and make those adjustments and add in what that student didn't do well, and that's still even doing that much is still little compared to you having to write a whole entire paragraph or detailed feedback right after a class. So that is the benefit of what I call pre-scripting. Okay, so I said here, Leo answered this question in a good conversation with me. Leo talked about Leo said that people need jobs to make money so they can live. All right. Very basic, something you want to expect that they're going to say something very basic, which usually most of the times is what they do. You get a student sometimes that may say more advanced things. You can add that. But right now, we're trying to go ahead and get the student, the benefit of the doubt that they're going to answer, they're going to discuss, they're going to complete all of these lessons at the most basic level and be successful. So let's keep going through another slide. Okay, we've already talked about all these other things. Okay, so here goes a reading passage. How did the student read this passage? Okay, so I'm going to write down, Leo read the passage. Different tools Leo read the passage, different tools, without any assistance. Okay. Leo read the passage, any tools without any assistance. His reading fluency is improving as he reads at a very normal pace. Okay, his reading fluency is improving as he reads at a very normal pace. Okay, so you can also, another thing that help out too, if you look at that student's profile, which I'm not going to go to right now, but if you look at that student's profile and you see what their past experiences have been with other teachers, what other teachers have said about that student, what they've actually accomplished in their profile according to VIPKID, you can also use that as a measurement to really set the standard for that individual student. So that also helps to go ahead and look into the student's bio to see where they are at. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, at a very normal place. Leo also remembered a lot about what he read. All right, so at this part, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue to talk about how the student is successfully still completing each lesson activity, just kind of going through it. The format is you first talk about how they initially did on the whole entire lesson. He did an awesome job today, mentioning and starting the things from beginning to end of each slide, what he's done well. All right, how he's progressed. So we're going to skip a few of these slides. Okay, and jobs and tools. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. Okay, Leo also had practice with several different with verbs such as drive and paint. Okay, Leo also practiced Leo also practiced using different verbs such as drive and paint. And I'm going to say he used these verbs successfully in his sentences. All right. And then from here, let's just go kind of skip down compound words. Okay, still a lot of these lessons are still going to be just different activities and repeats. This right here is just really talking about nouns and, you know, tellers, positions, that sort of thing. Okay, we get into sight words. Okay, we can also mention that. Leo completed a sight words activity reading different vocabulary as fast as he can. He read each word faster than the last. All right, boom. And I think that is pretty much, that is going to be enough in terms of what he's completed on the lesson. We have enough sentences, we have enough detail to show the parents what they've completed. Like I said, once the actual lesson is over that you have with the student, you can go back and make edits to this. I prefer you actually do, well, I normally do my feedback on a text doc, and then once I actually go through the lesson with the student, I'll compare what they actually did with what I've written. Hopefully not much has changed. They've actually completed the things that I've set out here and already wrote down. So that way I can go ahead and just copy it and paste it to the actual feedback itself. All right, so from here we're going to end this with a, we want to go ahead and kind of end our feedback with some things that, you know, we've enjoyed about the student during class, and some, maybe some about their personality, things of that nature. So Leo is an excellent student. He has a wonderful sense of humor, and he has a wonderful sense of humor and loves to read. I enjoyed teaching him today. I look forward to our next classroom. All right, as you can see, I just got done with doing a class with this student, and he lived up to everything, the expectations that I all wrote in the pre-scripted feedback. And as you can see, it's just a matter of simply just copy and pasting. I think I only made one adjustment in here, and I added that he knows what he wants, and I took something else out, which I can't even remember what I took out right now. Let me actually go back to the feedback. I took out, he has a wonderful sense of humor. I took out, he has a wonderful sense of humor. All right. Not saying that he wasn't funny. It's just he just knew more of what he wanted based off of this lesson being about dream jobs. So as you can see, doing it, the pre-scripting, copy and pasting the feedback right after a class just saves you so much time, when you're just waking up in the morning and you don't have, like, hopefully you warmed up during the class, but if you're still sleepy, um, you already had a pre-scripted feedback, they live up to it. It makes the whole, like, writing feedback that much seamless and just much easier for you. And actually for me, I know for me, it gives me a lot more confidence and it makes me feel even that much more prepared, in addition to looking at the slides and what I have to teach the students for that time. So it is a complete time saver and very convenient. All right, if you have any questions or any other concerns in regards to this, just hit me up in the comment section or a personal message.